Hello everyone, this is Pal Pondron Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about the potential of Tropical Storm Kappa to form in the Atlantic by this weekend, and also a tropical wave near Panama in the Caribbean. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Here's the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Here's the spot we've been kind of highlighting with the potential Tropical Storm Kappa south of Bermuda. It gives it a 30% chance of forming over the next several days. What's happening is there's a trough that's going to be interacting with this by tomorrow. But they do expect, and I do as well, a piece of it's going to break off from that. And that's what's been kind of inhibiting this thing to form. But once it forms, once it kind of breaks off by Friday, there is a possibility it acquires subtropical characteristic as it kind of taps into some warmer waters as it kind of just pushes southward. And then I do think it kind of forms and gets named Tropical Storm or Subtropical Storm Kappa, and then possibly lift up northward throughout the weekend and go out to sea and not really be a threat to anyone. It's already brought a lot of rain to Bermuda, but it should possibly form as a storm and then move northward throughout the weekend. So now let's kind of take a look at the bigger picture of what's happening. Here's the latest satellite picture. We've been through a lot, obviously, in the last 6 to 8 weeks. If we kind of zoom in, here's what that area disturbed weather, which will probably be Kappa. It's just kind of getting its act together. You can see it's attached to this elongated trough. But once this kind of breaks off, I do think it kind of gets its act together and forms subtropical characteristics. And you can see it's pretty clear skies over much of the Caribbean, where they've been dealing with a lot of rain. It's finally kind of clearing out, but they do still have that a tropical wave near Panama. That's the X I marked on the thumbnail. And that's the area disturbed weather that really hasn't gone away. It's still, by the coast. Fortunately, it has been by the coast. It hasn't been out over the open waters to possibly reform into another tropical storm. It's been hugging the coast, but unfortunately, it's been giving a lot of rain to areas near the coast by Panama into Costa Rica. So let's take a look at that feature. Here's the latest probability index from the European model for tomorrow, and it still has that area of disturbed weather that we've been kind of looking at for the last several days. There was a wave here by Jamaica that had a lot of rain for them, especially on Monday. I was getting a lot of reports from Jamaica. They were just getting inundated with a lot of heavier rain on Mondays, and that kind of subsided on yesterday. And now we're going to be dealing with some crystal clear skies. So sunny skies are ahead for you guys in the Caymans and Jamaica, down here in Cancun, Belize. I mean, we're talking. It's going to be a nice stretch of weather, but a lot of the inclement weather is going to be hugging the coast by Panama into Costa Rica, and you can see this feature still by into this weekend, going into the first. This area of disturbed weather just kind of hugs the coast, so this is not going away anytime soon. As you're kind of high and dry for much of the Caribbean, this will be hugging the coast for much of the rest of the week into the weekend, bringing well above average rains for the coastal regions of this area. So now let's kind of take a look at the bigger picture. Here's the latest GFS Ensemble member guidance. There's 2 areas, and let me kind of zoom in for you. This is just until Sunday, right? So the next 5 days. Here's the area where I think Kappa will form. So I do think it's going to form in this area and then probably push northward. So a lot of these millibars don't make it very strong, just maybe a minimal tropical storm, but I do think it actually forms. And check this out. This is another area of disturbed weather that really hasn't been kind of highlighted or anything because it's way out here in the Atlantic. But yeah, we could actually have another storm that forms and gets a name. And if this gets named, this would be Lambda. And this is by like Portugal. So there was actually already a storm this year that was named by Portugal. So don't be surprised if, sometime this weekend, then, if you hear in the headlines that, Kappa forms, and then also another storm, Lambda, forms. And that's what they're going to be talking about, as these two potential features that could get named, just, cat out in the middle of the Atlantic. This is actually going to possibly affect Portugal, but way out in the middle of the Atlantic. So if we kind of zoom out and look at the big picture for the next 15 days, there's several areas I want to highlight. First, this is that trough. This is the trough that we've been kind of highlighting near Panama. It's really not expected to go anywhere. It's kind of hugging the coast of Central America, just kind of elongating through into the Pacific. I'm not seeing any indication that it might possibly lift northward as of now, so that's good. And there's also, here's that Kappa that looks to possibly form and then move upward. This is all, look at this mess. This is what could be Lambda forming, all right? And look at all this. This is the major pattern change that we've been talking about for the United States. That's basically going to come up. It kind of started last night. It was a lot of severe weather in Dallas that I kind of highlighted. And this will actually kind of get its act together, get some colder air mixed into the pattern. And all this stuff is just low pressure troughs swinging across the United States. And for the next, from December 1st to about the 10th, I do expect a very active pattern in the United States. So there's going to be a lot to talk about here, as they're going to be dealing with all kinds of, severe weather to snow to possibly thunder snow. So it's going to be a wild pattern coming up for the United States, early part of December. But let's kind of zoom out and zoom back into the Caribbean, what's happening over the next several days. Here is Wednesday, so this is what we're looking at for today. And check this out. You have not seen this in a long time, and this is going to be very difficult to rain in this environment. So we do have crystal clear skies coming for you guys in Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cancun, Cozumel, just in time for Thanksgiving, right? So you've been dealing with a lot of rain. This area needs to dry out desperately, and it's going to be drying out in a big way, because this looks to continue and just push further south as the week progresses and goes into the weekend. And look, I mean, we got a lot of sinking air over the Caribbean. We just haven't seen this in a long time. It's going to be very difficult to rain in this environment. So even down here where areas just got inundated with the several hurricanes here by Honduras and Nicaragua, where you finally get to dry out yourself. And even this little tropical wave kind of gets pushed further inland. So even these areas might by then kind of get a drier time, that a lot of this dry air kind of mixes into the pattern. And then even by the end of the month on Monday, by the 30th. So the rest of November looks fairly dry for the Caribbean. I don't really see much rain at all for you guys. A lot of this is going to be really confined down south to that tropical wave. So yes, I mean, you're still going to be along the coast. You're going to be dealing with some of those heavier rains, but for much of the Caribbean, it's going to be crystal clear skies. So that's just a welcome sight to end November. And I wanted to highlight this feature because this is the water vapor imagery. This is by the end of the month, and by that time frame, we're going to have that first very strong cold front in the United States pushing. This is going to extend all the way into Florida this time. So a lot of the colder air will push all the way well into Florida and get into Cuba and actually reach probably the Cayman Islands and into Jamaica, believe it or not. I mean, you can actually kind of see this on the precipitable water index. Now, of course, this is by Tuesday now, December 1st, but we got several days, 6 or 7 days in a row of crystal clear skies. So the next rain chance I don't really see coming for this area, say like the Cayman Islands, getting into Jamaica. It would be around December 1st, December 2nd, as this cold front kind of makes its way all the way down. But even then, with that colder air mixing in, I'm not really seeing any heavier rains of that big feature. It's just maybe some isolated rain showers as some colder air kind of mixes into the pattern with this very strong cold front that's coming in to the United States. And you can see this on the total precipitation index for the rest of the month. We just have not seen this in a very long time. How many times have you looked at this map in the last 6 to 8 weeks and seen basically bone dry in the Caribbean. So this has been a long way coming. Again, a lot of this is going to be confined well to the coast. So we do have some drier days ahead for you guys in the Caribbean. And then now let's just extend it all the way into December. So this is a feature that I look at a lot, is the velocity potential index. This is the vertical lift in the atmosphere. And this is the area that we live. And this is from basically, November 26 all the way through January. So, and there's a reason why the Hurricane Center ends, the season in December, because there's only a 3% chance of a storm forming in December. So obviously if we get Kappa to form, if we do happen to get Lambda to form, that would be number 32, number 33. I mean, it's, where's the end, right? And so, but we do see some, even down in December, look at the reds over this area, which we have not seen in a very long time. That is sinking air. A lot of the inclement weather has shifted to the other side of the world, and they're going to get storms over there. But for our area, you can see that little highlighted area by the 26th. That's indicative of they're picking up on Kappa, possibly Lambda forming, right? But there's not that many areas as we go into December the 6th, the 10th. There's very subtle highlighted features of some upward rising motion, but this is only one characteristic of it to form to a tropical storm. But there's not much else to go on them. And I know there's a little highlighted spot here, but that's not until January the 6th. And the odds of something forming in January 6th are not very good. So there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel that things are winding down for the Caribbean and the Atlantic hurricane season. And I just kind of wanted to show you this for those guys at NOAA. I mean, they have just been working night and day. I mean, obviously since May, they look at the numbers they've been having to deal with, and they've dealt with 13 hurricanes. We've had, the average per season is 6. We've had 6 major hurricanes. The average is 3. We have had 12 landfalling hurricanes for the U.S., and 5 of them hit Louisiana alone. And there were 10 named storms in the month of December. It's just been an incredible hurricane season. There's been 10 rapidly intensifying storms sampled as well from these hurricane hunters. There's been 30 named storms, and look at the manpower. These are guys that have to actually fly into these hurricanes to get data to bring it back to keep you safe. I mean, they put their lives at risk to give you the data. They've had 86 hurricane missions. I mean, it's just been incredible. They've had 102 eye wall passes. I mean, they have to actually fly into the storm, and there were several times it was just too risky or too turbulent as these storms are just rapidly intensifying. The turbulence was so strong, they just kind of had to turn back. It just was not safe. So they have to 678 flight hours. I mean, that was almost a month in the air. Because obviously you have a storm down in the Caribbean, you got to fly from Biloxi, Mississippi, all the way down the Caribbean. So not only do you have to fly there, fly through it several times, over an hour or two, and then fly back. So that's a long time in the plane, over a 10 or 12 hour mission, a lot of times in these flight missions. And then how they collect data, they drop these little drop zones. They've had over 1,700 of these since May, dropping into these hurricanes, getting samples of data back to the Hurricane Center to give it to the public, to give you advanced warnings for these storms. So they've just been working night and day for you guys. So I just want to give you an idea of what goes on behind the scenes of a very active hurricane season. So I know you've had a lot to deal with, but we do have some crystal clear skies ahead and a much quieter season going forward. So I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely like this video, leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.